You are welcome to Code with Kamate, and today we are continuing with our Django tutorials. And last time we were able to tackle a few things about Django. We were able to print hello world on Django, and we were able to see how we configure all those configurations. So today, I want to take that to the next level. We shall be developing a full stack application, and this is the part one of it. In part two, we shall deploy it to the server. So, but this part, we are going to first build it and tackle about 70% of it. Then the other 30%, we are going to cover it in our next tutorial. So this is Code with Kamate. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe so that you don't miss any of these videos. So what should we expect, or what is the final application you want to build? Let me take you through the final application that we shall come up with. We shall come up with an application like this one. So this is Code with Kamate website, yeah, with all of those features as you can see. So we shall be focusing majorly on the back end, like the login buttons. We shall allow users to be able to log into the systems, create new accounts. They can be able to create the accounts or even log in. So that is what you should expect by the end of this tutorial. So you are highly welcome. And if you're new here, don't forget to subscribe and also share with others. So let us start. We are going to start by creating a new folder on the desktop, which is going to be the one that where we shall save all our files. So I can call it Code with Kamate, okay, website. So let us open this folder here. Let me close these applications down here. Okay. Okay. I think here we are good to go. So after opening our folder, we are going to create all our files in this folder. So the first thing we do, as we said, we first open this folder in the VS Code, in Visual Studio Code. It's the editor we shall be using. So one way to do it is by right clicking. If you're on Windows 11 and you click on Open in Terminal, and then you run a small command to open it in Visual Studio Code by just typing code with a dot. So this is going to open the folder in Visual Studio Code. The other way is picking it up the folder and dropping it in Visual Studio Code directly. So both of the ways are going to give you the same result. What we just need is to have the folder opened in VS Code. So after we having our folder open here, as you can see, it is here, Code with Kamate website. We can close these charts here. Okay, here we are good to go. So the first thing we do, we need to create, let us close the welcome screen. So the first thing we have to do is to go to our terminal here. When you come here, we always have a terminal in VS Code. Then you go on new terminal. So we are going to create the Django project, and then after creating the Django project, it's when now we shall be able to start configuring out how to work with all that we have previewed. So as we're waiting for the terminal to load, I'll just give it a second. Okay, fine. So we're going to run the Django admin start project. Let us call it Code with Kamate. Code with. Okay, so I think you are now familiar with all these commands because previously we covered them. So this is how we create a new project, Code with Kamate. Then the dot indicates that it is going to be opened in the current folder. Let's give it a second for it to create it. Yeah, okay, so as you can see, we already have the files. Last time I explained to what every file does here. So after that, we are now going to go to to our server. We have to open our server to preview Python manage.py run server so that we can preview our website, because it is always important to run the website as you are developing it. You should be able to see the output of what the users will be able to see. Yeah, so let us open this one here in a browser. Just click on it and okay, fine. Let me close this terminal here. Okay, so I think it has opened here. You can even zoom here. So they are saying that the install is successfully installed. So we already have the Django installed. Wow. So what else should we do now? Since we already have this, remember what we need is to display something here. When someone goes onto our site, this is the home page. They should be able to see a beautiful home page. So previously we were able to print out the hello world message. So what we have to do right now, we just have to first set up the urls.py as we did previously. So under urls.py, you just have to add another path here, a path to the home page. You have to add it on the new screen, on the new line. So create a path. Okay, and this path should be able to open views.homepage. Okay, so we are going to create a function in views, a function called homepage, which will be able to handle that request. Okay, but we don't have views at the moment, so we have to first also create views.py. So I'm going through this faster because we have covered them already. If you are new to this, then check a link in the description for the previous video so that you can also catch up. Then that's when you can come for this. So we open up views.py and then we define a function called homepage. And then this function, as we said, it has to always take a request and it should always return. Let us first return a HTTP response of hello world. Okay, so after doing this, let me close this. Okay, fine. Okay, so here we are good to go. So now we have so hello world. Okay, now let us try to run it, because now I have already specified it that when you go to the home page, it should open views.homepage, and the home page is a function. But remember, at the moment we have not defined the home page, or we don't have our views imported over here. Okay, so we have to import views first. So from the current folder, import views. Okay, so after importing views, when we run our server, we should be able to get the message hello world on the screen. Okay, give it a second. I think we got some few errors here. We have to let us restart the terminal. Let us cancel the terminal and restart it. I think there were some small issues because very many extensions are loading. That's why it is taking time. So I'm seeing this one is underlined. Why? Oh wow, fine. So remember, since we have already described that we need to get a HTTP response, we need to import HTTP response. So how do we do that? We import it here at the top from the Django Django.http import HTTP response. Okay, so when we do so, Yeah, so after we have returned the HTTP response of hello world, when we go into our browser to check the feedback, we should be able to get hello world on the screen. Oh, okay, we are trying to run out the terminal. Let's run the terminal again. Uh, so we are running Python manage.py run server. Let us give it a second. Okay, fine. Let's open it from here. So as you can see here, we already have our hello world message being displayed. So everything is working fine. So this is our home page. But now the issue here is we don't want to always return hello world. We need, if someone goes to our home page or navigates this home page of ours, should be able to receive a beautiful home page like the one I shown at the beginning. So how do we do that? That one we do it using what we call a template. So instead of us coming here and describe and returning HTTP response, we are going to return a template. Okay, we shall render a template. And how do we do that? So instead of returning HTTP response, you're going to delete this. We return a render function, of which that render is going to take a request and also take the name of the template. Okay, so it means that when this request comes into urls.py, that's where it first hits. In urls.py, we already have a function called homepage in views, which is going to be handling it, which is this one here. So that function is no longer returning HTTP response. So this one we no longer need it here. Instead, it is rendering an index.html. So this is the syntax of how we render HTML documents. So but render we have to import it. So render we can import it from the Django.shortcuts. We import render. So when we do this, it means that now our site, instead of returning the hello world, boring hello world here, it is going to return a fully working web page. Okay, so I have already attached the web pages here because I created them before, so that you cannot go through creating HTML right now. But in case you are new to HTML and CSS and some JavaScript, then there is a link in the description to help you catch up with the HTML and CSS, because they are always important, because they are the building blocks of every code. So I'm going to copy the code for HTML and CSS. I've also attached the same file here in the description. You can download the file and you also paste it so that you can follow up very well. But knowing HTML and CSS is always a must, especially if you are a web developer. So now what do we do before you paste in the index.html? The first thing we have to do is that the Django has a special way of how it configures these templates. Okay, so it has a special how it configures these templates. So, and one of those ways is by first creating a folder within the directory called templates. So if we shall create a folder here and we call it templates. So this is where we store all our templates. So under templates, let's create a file and we call it index.html. So now when we write some code here, let us select a language to be HTML. Okay, fine. So now when we are here and maybe we create a HTML document like this one, I hope you know how to create this. It's just by using an exclamation mark so that you can get this template here. Now, for example, when we have our H1 and maybe H1 is welcome to Code with Kamate. Okay, so when you go back to our browser and we refresh, we should say welcome. Oh, okay, sorry, we are getting an error. Yes, why? Because now after we have defined the template here, here in our index.html, we have to notify the Django in settings.py. So that's the importance of the file of settings.py. So we have to go and we specify that our templates are in this folder called templates. So how do we do that? We scroll down in our settings.py and under templates, line 54, where there is DIRS, line 57, directories. So it is where we specify the location of our templates within our code base. So where are they located? They are located under code with Kamate / templates. Okay, so that's where our templates are located. So this tells the Django that when it is looking for a template as yet is being rendered here, it should go and look into our main app Code with Kamate and then look for a folder called templates. That's where our templates are located. So when we refresh again here, give it a second. Okay, we are getting an error here. Okay, fine. And normally when you get such errors, it's because we have not restarted our terminal. Okay, let's run the server again. Okay, fine, let's run it. So as you can see, we now have welcome to Code with Kamate. So most of the times when you see errors coming when you are programming, that is normal. So you just have to figure out how to handle them. Now, like these are not errors because we just needed to restart the server. So but it's good to debug because the more you face errors and debug, the more you get more experience working with different sites. Yeah, so that's how we have been able to display. That's how I've been able to display our welcome message, whereby we are returning an index.html file. So having done that, let's now come to our HTML, our index.html. It means that whichever code is under index.html will always be displayed because we have already rendered it in our views.py. So now let's go in our index.html. I want us to place the whole of this code with the code that I have already prepared for the home page. So let me access my code here. I have shared the same. I've shared a folder down here with all of those HTML. So we will go through it. Where is it? Yeah, let me get the site, then yeah, so they are here. This is the index.html page. So I'm going to copy its code base and paste it so that we can be able to follow up well. Let me open it in Visual Studio Code. Yeah, so it is here. Then we can highlight all, Control A, then we right click and we copy it. Then after copying, we go to our index.html in our Django project and then we paste it there. So when we paste it there, it means that when we go into our browser, we should be able to see it being, wow, it has been rendered successfully. So that is how we can be able to create a site. However, the CSS part is not configured here, so we have to go into CSS and we also configure it so that it can appear in our project. So now the Django, most of the times it has its own way of how we configure the CSS. If we want the CSS to be displayed, it has a special configuration for it. Okay, so let us go to settings.py. The first thing we have to do is we have to create a folder which will be able to store the static files. Now the CSS files, the JavaScript files, the images files, all of them are described as static files. Okay, so we create a folder like how we created the templates folder. This one we are going to name it static. Okay, we are going to name it static. This is the one which is going to be having all of those other files, the CSS, JavaScript, images, everything. So under static, so we can also have a folder called CSS. We can even have a folder called images. Okay, and even JavaScript, but for today we shall not use JavaScript. So now under CSS, let us create our file and we call it style.css. okay, this is our style.css. So now if right now we, for example, format our index.html, for example, highlight the body and maybe change its background color under styles.css. When we select the body and then we change the background color, if we change the background color of the body maybe to blue, and we try to run out into our server, it is not going to run. Yeah, it is not going to run, and the reason behind this is because the Django has its own ways of how it configures the static files, the HTML and the CSS, the images and the JavaScript. So we have to first do that in settings. So let us head to our settings and we look for static files, static option. It is somewhere down here. Yeah, line 117 under static URL. So now this is where we configure everything concerning static files. And this configuration, you have to be careful with it as you are typing these configurations, because any spelling error can make your CSS not to function. So the first thing we do, we do normally have what we call static files, dirs, and we open it to be a list. We make it a list. Okay, so we do have static files dirs, and now here we specify where our static files are located. So how do we specify that? Our static files are located in Code with Kamate /static. Okay, just as we did with templates. So this is Code with Kamate /static. Okay, so that is where they are located, and most of the times in case it does not run, then you might need to add here base directory like this, base dir. Okay, so we can have base dir, then Code with Kamate /static. So that is where our static files are located. And now when we are deploying our site to tell the server where they are located, we normally have what we call the static root. Okay, static root directory. The static root directory, which we assign to the base directory, because here we are trying to tell the server where it should find our static files. Okay, yeah, this is how we make it when we are deploying. Okay, so this is the configuration we make when we want to run our static files. Okay, so these are the configurations. So when you have this in your settings.py, that's when you can be able to run the CSS and apply them onto your your web pages. So now after we doing this, there is something also we have to handle. We have to make sure that our index.html, this one here, at the beginning it should be able to load static, because we are using static files, the CSS. So we have to load the static by using this syntax. Okay, so it is curly brackets, percentage, then in between we have load static. Okay, so after loading this static like this, then we should be able to go to our CSS here, and now instead of linking it like a normal HTML document, we shall also open up curly braces, then percentage. Then in between there, we are going to have static. Make sure spellings are very correct. So we are going to have static. Then we will locate the static file. It is css/style.css. Okay. So this is the location. Under static, we have css, which is this css/style.css. So this style.css can be any other name that you give it. If it is styles, it's fine. It will also work out. So having done that, now our CSS file should be able to load. What do we have in our CSS file? We are changing the whole background to blue. Let us first test it out if it is working. As I said, let us start by rerunning the server. manage.py run server. Let's give it a second. Okay, so let us now open the link here and we see what is happening. Let's give it a second as it loads. Okay, so I think there is a spelling with there how we wrote load. Okay, so we have to be very careful with the spellings. So I think when we are rendering the index.html, we did not write the word load very well. Okay, so it has to be load. So those are the small errors which developers are always facing. So any small error takes you back. Okay, so you have to make sure that everything is very well written. Okay, so yeah, it has been able to run, and now we can be able to see the blue screen, which means that our CSS currently is working. Okay, so since our CSS now is working, I already have a CSS that I've developed, which is also attached down here. If you need all of those files, they have compiled them together. You can be able to get them so that you can follow up, because our aim, we are not making only the front end, we are going to focus majorly on the back end. So that's why the HTML and CSS have been able to make them before, then I dropped them here. But tutorials for HTML and CSS, there's also a link in the description to that playlist. Okay, so you can be able to check it out if you are new to HTML and CSS. So now let me go back to my files and I look for style.css, which I have prepared earlier. Then we copy that code and we paste it within our style.css to format our page to look better. So I think it is this one. Let us just Control A it. That is copying. Then right click, we copy it. Then after copying, we come to our style.css in our CSS folder under static. Then we save it, Control V. Then after saving, let's go and refresh and we see if it is working. Yeah, it is working very fine. So this is our beautiful page of Code with Kamate. So this is how it comes about when you are using the Django. So you have to go through all of those configurations. Okay, so as you can see here, maybe to make a recap, the first thing you have to do, you have to make sure that you have the templates folder created and the static folder created. Then you go in settings.py and then work on them. Okay, So set the static using these settings over here, and then set the templates folder using the template using this line 57 here as we did. So yeah, that is it all about setting up the HTML and the CSS. But now we are still going forward. Now, since we already have our Code with Kamate website, the other thing I forgot mentioning is that you have to make sure that you have your URLs pointing to the home page, and the home page function should be able to return the index.html. Okay, so now after we have had that, we now need to make this web page function. Like here, you see the login buttons, they are not working, so nothing else is working here. Okay, so now we need members to be able to log into the system. Okay, members should be able to log in, and even we do more things with the website, because this is just the landing page. So how can people be able to log in? Now, the first thing we have to ask ourselves is, as we said last time, is that we need to open a page whereby if someone clicks on login, that page should be able to load. Okay, which means that if we have our site like this and we slash to login, okay, like this, when we slash to login, then it should be able to open up a login page. Okay, then after that we shall bring that page and we link it over on this button. So that's how we deal with the back end stuffs. So what is the first thing? As we said, we are first going to have a slash to something like login, or maybe something like authenticate, or maybe something like user any, okay, which is going to give us a page to help people be able to log into the website. Okay, so the first thing we are going to do, we are going to go into our project. I can first close these windows here. Okay, fine. Then I can also minimize this. Okay, fine. Okay, so this is what we have already. And now since we already have this one, now we are going to be able to create an app. Why? Because this one is the root directory of our project. Is the one which handles our setting.py, our deployment files. They are always configured from here. So what we do whenever we want to create something new into a website, we do create a new app for it, because whenever we mix everything into one and maybe there happens to be an error, it will be very difficult to look for that error within one application. So this one being the main, we don't usually put in a very many stuffs. Instead, we create another app and then we use that app to manage other things. Now, like for example, here we need to manage the login, the logout, the sign up, all those things, okay, which are leading someone to the dashboard. So now for us to clearly do that, we just have to create a new app. And how do we create a new app? Let's get back to our terminal. We can first end the server here. Let's get to our terminal. Even when you click this plus button, you can get a terminal. Okay, fine. So we are going to create a new app. Wow, Python manage.py start app. So we use the start app command. Okay, when we want to create it, we use manage.py start app. Then we give it the app name. So for our case, the app name, we can maybe call it authenticate, but it doesn't matter. You can call it whatever you want. Okay, so we call it authenticate because we are going to be having login, sign up, what and what. So if you're dealing with maybe school systems, you can call it students, maybe to manage students. You can call it employees to manage teachers, all that. So it depends on the system we're working on. So right now for us, since we're working on login and logout, we are going to call it authenticate. So let's press enter. Oh wow, good, it has been able to create it. So as you can see on top here, we have authenticate, and it has come up also with very many apps, very many other files. Okay, which I'll be able to see all of these ones, like the migrations. We are going to tackle migrations in a second. So having done this, now the first thing you have to know is that whenever you create an app, the first thing you you have to first register that app in the main app. So this is the main app, Code with Kamate, which has settings.py, which is managing every other apps within here. So we have to first go to settings and we register this app called authenticate that we have created. So when you scroll down under installed apps, line 33, we can be able to add our app here called authenticate. Okay, make sure spellings are correct. Okay, so this app is called authenticate. This is the one we have just created. Then after registering this app, that is the first step that you have to do. So when the app is registered, that's when you can be able to do all the other things. Unless you register it, nothing will work. So the migrations part you're seeing here, and you may, whenever you run the server, there is always that error that does come that you have 18 unapplied migrations. So now migrations, they are used to create tables in databases, because if you see down here, we have a file called db.sqlite3. So this is a simple database that is hosting simple data. So currently it is hosting data like the Django's admin panel, because the Django does have an admin panel where you can be able to manage different users. Okay, we shall go through it, I think, in a second. So that is all about migrations. So the migrations, they help us create those tables. For example, if you are picking user input, maybe someone has filled a form and you want to store that in a database, you have to run a command called, let us run one of them here. We have to run Python manage.py migrate. Okay, so when you press enter, it is going to apply all of those migrations. Let me expand the terminal. See, so it is trying to create all of those tables. The admin, initial, everything will be created from here. Okay, so here they have created those tables. But why do we create these tables? These tables are very important. It's when we are handling issues concerning users. Okay, because with time, when we come onto our website and then we slash to admin, it is always inbuilt. So always have this the Django admin panel, which has very many features, as we can be able to go through them. Yeah, let us try to look at them. But now, before you log into the admin, yeah, you need to be having a username and password. And to get the username and password, you have to run Python manage.py create super user. So this is the command we run to get the username and password, so that we can be able to access the admin panel. So the username, let me use admin. Email address, I can say admin at codewithkamate.com. Then the password, let me use admin. Okay, fine. So the password you can just bypass. Okay, so it is now creating it. So after creating it like this, when we try to go to log into the admin panel using admin and password admin, let us log in. Okay, so as you can see, it has been able to log into this admin site. So this admin site is a very good site. It has the dark mode, light mode, so it is a very good one, especially when you're adding users. But still, we shall use it when we are handling the CRUD operations, the create, the delete, all those things. It's when we shall be able to use this one more. That is very important for adding data from the back end. But for now, let us not focus much onto it, but that's what the migrations do. So when you have run the migrations, it does create those tables, like this username and password has been stored in the table in this database down here. Okay, back to where we have been. We've been on the issue of seeing how to make this login button to function. And as I said, is that we have to ask ourselves that when someone slashes to slash login, what should happen? Okay, so what should happen is that this request, when it comes, it normally goes directly into the main app. Okay, it goes into the main app, that is the urls.py. So under urls.py, let me minimize the terminal. So under urls.py, that's where all the requests do go. Okay, so now what we do here, we are going to create another path. Okay, we're going to create a path such that a request that is coming from the login button should be able to be handled by what and how. Now, because here we have many requests, we shall get requests for login, requests for sign up, requests for very many requests. So, and remember, all these requests, they are being monitored. We have created this app major to handle them. So, what we do when we are creating this path, the path to login. So the path to login should open up what? Now, what we do, instead of rendering them here, we can refer them to the authenticate app, such that in case any link comes and is requesting for login, for sign up, for validation, all that should be handled by the authenticating app. Okay, so what we do, we just be like any URL that whose request starts with authenticate. Okay, if it starts with authenticate, what should happen? We are going to use a function called include. Okay, we are going to include authenticate dot urls. So what does this mean? This means that any URL that starts with authenticate, it is going to be handled by authenticate.urls. This is what it means. Okay, so this include can also be imported from the Django.urls import path. Then you can say comma include. Okay, yeah, so here include is now installed, is now imported. So that is what it means. Any URL that if it is slashed with authenticate like this, it should be handled by authenticate.urls. Okay, but we don't have urls under authenticate, so we create that file called urls.py. So we are creating it under authenticate. Okay, it is this one here. So it is the one which will be handling all the requests to it, which means that if someone makes a request, for example, of login, when someone makes a request of login, we shall call authenticate. Okay, we shall call authenticate, then authenticate should be done to display the login page. Okay, so now let's come to URLs of the main app. Okay, this one we are done with it. Authenticate, yes, make sure spellings are correct. So after that, now it means that under URLs of authenticate, if that request comes, so the request that comes, we want to link it with this login button. Okay, we want this login button to be done to bring up that request to authenticate. So when this is called, it should automatically bring the login page for someone to be able to log in. So how do we handle that? So under URLs, we are going to create URL patterns. Okay, we are going to create URL patterns just like the ones we have in the URLs of Code with Kamate, the main app. So let's create a path. So any path that goes to authenticate, okay, it should be handled by views.login. Okay, so what does this mean? This means that any request that comes from the browser requesting for authenticate, that is one, it will come here directly. Then it will be like, it will be slashed with authenticate. It will be handled by authenticate.urls. Now, when it is being handled in URLs of authenticate, we now have our path, that what should happen when now someone is at authenticate. Okay, that person should be able to be, the logic to handle that should be under views with a function called login. Okay, which means this is the function called login, which is going to be able to display the login page. I hope we are together. So yeah, if you are new to these things, they are somehow complex, but the more you practice them, the more you understand them. So what we are going to do first, you're going to import path. That is the first thing. How do we import path? We get it from the Django.urls. So from the Django.urls import path, and we also have to import views. So from the current folder, import views. Okay, so we now have views. Then after that, we need to create now the login function in views. So under views, which is here, views.py, we are going to create a function called login, and this function, as usual, will always be taking a request, and now it is going to return a render. Return, there is R here, so it is going to be rendering the request with a login.html. Okay, so this is it. So we already have a render imported, so it's going to be returning login.html. Okay, so but now we don't have login.html. So under our templates in the main app, let's create login.html. So for example, in our login.html, let's select the language here, or else we just have to put one heading one like this, h1, then just say this is a login page. So let us try to see if it is functional. So when someone slashes to authenticate, should be able to get the login page. I think we closed the server before. We have to restart the server. So Python manage.py run server. Okay, so the server has been able to run successfully. Back to terminal here. So we are going to open the server here. Yeah, so we open this from our browser. So this is the home page. So we said that when someone flashes to authenticate, should be able to see our login page. Wow, very wonderful. So since someone is able to see the login page, now what we need here, we just need now to paste in the design which I have already made for the login. I already have a design for it. So the good thing of testing that it is working, which means that when we go and we copy our login, let me get the login. All these files, they are attached in here, so you just go and download them. And if you are new to HTML and CSS, then you need to check my playlist for HTML so that you can first catch up with this HTML. So let us get the login.html here. Yeah, it's here, so we just highlight it, Control A, then copy, then go to our login.html in templates and we paste it there. So when we paste it, when we go to refresh our page, you should be able to see the HTML part of the login page. Okay, so now under login page, we also have to have it. I also have its CSS. So where is it? It is here. So this is the CSS for it. It is auth.css. So let me also open it, and I copy it into auth.css. Once again, these files are available. Copy this. They are available in the link in the description. So we go to our static files. then go into our CSS. So create another file called auth.css. You can, however, call it any name you want. So now for it to function, we have to go to the login and we load the static. So we'll open curly braces, then we open percentage, then we load the static. Then after loading static, we come here where we are referencing it, where we are linking it. So we now link it using curly braces, percentage, and then we say static, then quotes css slash auth.css. Okay, so with this it should be able to run. Let us try to run it and we see. Remember we have slashed authenticate. Okay, so as you can see, it's going to bring this beautiful page of ours. So when someone is on the home page like this, you'll be able to see this, but when they slash to authenticate, they'll be able when they slash to authenticate, they should be able to see this beautiful login page. So that's how that's how I've been able to create that. But now this is not all that we want. What we want is to make sure that when someone clicks on this login button, that's when the authenticate should be able to work, because right now the authentication button is not working. So how do we do that? We have to go and look for login button in this page, which is the home page or the index.html. Then you go and you make some configurations on this button such that when it is clicked, it should be able to open the authenticate page down for logging in. Okay, so how do we do that? Let's go to our index.html, which has our login button, and we look for that login button. So our login button is here. So it is on line 25. So this login button, it has a href or a reference of hash login. Okay, now we have to remove this and then we replace it with the Django's way of linking. And how do we do that? We want when someone clicked on login, should be this what should happen is that it should load the this path. Okay, this is what we want, because this is the path which is bringing about the login page, not so. When you click on login under views, it's the one which is bringing the login.html. So in our URLs, we need, in our HTML here, we need to make sure that when someone clicks this link, instead of referencing them with the hash login, we are going to reference them using this URL. So what we do, we have to give this URL a name that will identify it. So we can call it login, okay? Or we can call it user login. So we have to give it a name. After giving it a name, now we are going to pick this name. We copy this name and then we go to our index.html, and under the reference we open curly braces, percentage, then put space, then we put URL, then we put quotes, then we paste in the URL name, the user login. So which means that when you go onto this button, when you click on it, it is going to call the user login. User login is a URL. So it is going to go through the whole of your apps and check for a URL called user login. And where is it? It is this one. So what is it doing? When you try to check, it is being handled by views.login. The login function under views is done, which is handling it, of which views is in the current folder, which is this one. So when you go into views and we check for the login, it is down, which is returning login.html. So it means that clicking on the login button here should be able to open the login page. So let us restart our terminal. That's still our terminal, and we see out, we check out if it is gonna work out. Python manage.py run server. So that is how we link up different buttons. Let us check if it is going to work out fine. I hope it has to work out. Okay, let's open this link in the browser. Okay, yes, it has been able to open this. So when we click on login, should be able to bring this beautiful page of login. Okay, so that is how we do combine the back end. That's how we get the back end and we link into different front end buttons. So clicking on login will automatically take you to your login page. So we also have this button called create an account, because now we cannot log in without an account. We need to first create an account. So we need to see how to link this create an account with a page that will allow users to create their accounts, so that after getting the accounts, that's when they can be able to log into this and then access the dashboard. So how do we link this create an account button here to make sure that it is opening a sign up button? So the thing we have to ask ourselves is, remember already we are under authenticate slash. Okay, that's where we are. It's the one which is displaying this login button. So now we need now to call in sign up. Okay, authenticate slash sign up, such that when authenticate slash sign up is called, it will automatically, when it is called or when we already have it, we shall link it onto this button. So the first thing we have to do is to first make this one to happen or to work. Okay, when this one is running, we shall now bring it and we attach it onto this button. So currently it's not working because it is not there, page not found. So we have to first make this page to appear, sign up. And how do we do that? As we said, all the URLs which are coming into our main app, they are being handled by, if you can see here in our URLs, all the URLs, they are being handled by authenticate.urls. So now the URLs in authenticate, they are here. And now we should create another path. Shift R with down arrow to duplicate the line of code. That is on Windows. Shift R plus down arrow. So now we are going to be like, if someone slashes, remember here we are already under authenticate. Okay, so we are already on this part. So now we need to add on the other part. If someone is here and wants to go forward on to sign up, what should happen? So we come back here and now we be like, if someone slashes to sign up. Okay, if someone slashes to sign up, what should happen? It should be handled by views, but now we cannot use the login function. We are going to use the sign up function. You can call this function anything. Okay, so we can call it the sign up function. So we might not need the name for now, but if we need it, then we shall come and we add it there. Yeah, because in programming you always need to know what you are doing, because if you don't know what you're doing, then things become complex for you. So you have to be knowing why you're adding this and that. Okay, so now when we create the views.signup, this means that we need to create a function called signup in our views.py in our authenticate app. So we go to views.py here and create a function, we call it signup. So we define a function called signup, and then this function should always take a request, and from there it should return let us return HTTP response. We see if it is already functioning. That's when we shall return it back. So let us return a HTTP response of, or maybe this is a sign up page. Okay, so we have to import this. I have to import it from the django.http. Okay, from the django.http import this HTTP response. If you're seeing the button I'm using to bring out this, it is an extension which you have to download, the Python extension, and you can also Google the extension which you can use to make your code look better, like highlighting with colors and all that. Yeah, so after we have done so, now someone who is slashing to authenticate slash sign up should be served by views.signup, okay, of which our views.signup is returning a HTTP response of this is the sign up page. So let us go on to sign up here and we press enter. So it is saying page not found. Okay, fine. Let us figure out why it is not coming. So the sign up function is returning a HTTP response of this is a sign up, all right? Sign up, make sure spellings are all correct. So let us check in our urls.py. So when someone slashes to sign up, views, okay, fine. Let us restart the server and we see. Let us restart the server and we see if it is going to work out. You can stop the server by pressing Ctrl C on Windows. Python manage.py run server. Let me close this. Okay, so let's open this. So we have said that if someone slashes to authenticate, when you slash to authenticate, you should see the login page, right? This is working very well. Now, when you go forward and slash to sign up, okay, it should be able to open page not found. Okay, let us try to debug this together. Path sign up, yes, it should be able to bring this. Let's remove this slash here and we see. Okay, just refresh. So as I see here, the problem is on URL errors, because you see the error we are getting here. Let me see a second. So the error we are getting, okay, let's run again and you see slash sign up. Okay, page not found. The error is because the current path authenticate slash sign up slash did not match any of these. Okay, so this is what they are looking at. So the problem could be this slash. Let's remove it. Let's refresh. Sign up, yes. Wow, fine, it has worked. So the problem was the slash. So this is the sign up page, which means that, so sorry about that, but when you are coding, most of the times you cannot miss some errors, especially when you are on a live class. So yeah, but that is it. Whenever you get errors, you have to figure out how to handle them until when you get solution for them. So right now we have been able now to have the sign up page. Okay, so which means that when someone is at this point, when someone is at the home page like this and then logs in from here, then after logging in, we are trying to make this page to work. Okay, to create an account here, should be able to open up the authenticate slash sign up. Okay, but now we don't have this page. We have to replace this static word with now the real HTML page, so that if someone clicks on to create an account, it should be done to be rendered. So how do we do that? That one is we have to go to our views, then where we are returning HTTP response, we now return, we render, okay, we render the request, oh, so we render the request with signup.html. okay, so we handle the request with signup.html, and after that now we have to create our signup.html under templates. signup.html. Okay, fine. So let us now get, I already have the signup.html. Once again, all of these ones, they are already designed. So it is just a matter of you checking through the description and get that link, and you open them and copy the codes for easy follow-up. Okay, so let me open the sign up page. So we copy this, right click, copy, and then go to sign up and paste it there. So let's go to refresh, and we see when we slash to sign up, yeah, wow, good, it is able to open this, but now CSS is not loading. So we can go to its, we have to load static for it, that's why. So we'll open curly braces percentage, then we load the static. Okay, after loading static, then we come onto the style sheet where it has been linked. So instead of linking this, we open curly braces percentage, and then we load static like this, static, then we open quotes css slash. It's also going to use the auth.css. okay, so the login page and the sign up page, they're using the same css file. So when you go to reload, you get a beautiful creating account page. Wow, wonderful. So which means that when someone is on authenticate, I mean on sign up, we'll be able to see this beautiful page of signing up. Okay, so from there we now have to go back to the login part of the authentication, and we want to make this button, when clicked, it should be able to open up the sign up. Okay, so how do we do that? We have to go to our login, which has that button, and look for it. Let's look for that button. Let me drop down this. So that button, it is here. Okay, create account. So now this create account button is being linked to a signup.html. This one was just a placeholder. But now, how do we link that? We need to link it to make sure that instead of it should be linked to the URL that is loading the sign up button. So how do we do that? Curly braces percentage, and then we have URL. Okay, which URL is that? The URL that is going to go into sign up. Okay, so how do we get that? We go back to our URLs up here, and we see which URL is responsible for bringing about the sign up page. Okay, it is this one here. So having seen it, we now give it a name. Okay, we give it a name because we want to reference it the other side, and we can call it user sign up. Okay, so after that we can copy it, user sign up, right click and copy is down here. Then after copying it, we go back to our login.html, and then under URL here we paste it there, which means that if someone clicks on create an account, it is going to automatically call the user sign in URL. So the user sign in URL, it will be able to be called, and it will be returning the sign up page according to our views.py. So let's see if that one is working out. So let's go back to the home page. Okay, this is authenticate button, right? So when you create an account, it should be automatically open up the signing up account form. Okay, having done that, we also need to have this, because after someone has created their account, they should be able to sign up, then go back to login. After signing up, they can receive a message like, oh, thank you for signing up. Then from there, they can be taken to the login page. So clicking here does not bring anything, it brings page not found. So we should also link this to the login page, which I think is now easier for you. You can pause the video and try it out by yourself before you come back here and we do it. So I hope you've been able to do it. So now we are going to look for this in this page. We're going to look for this sign up because we already have the login page, because we have it at /authenticate. Okay, at /authenticate we already have this page. Okay, since we already have this page, it means that we just need to get its URL and link it onto this word called login here. So let's go to the sign up page, the signup.html. Signup.html. Then we look for that sign up is where, no, it is on login here. Yes, login. So instead of linking it like this, we are going to open curly braces %%, and then we are going to be able to link it to the URL. Which URL? The login URL. How did we call the login URL? We go back to urls.py, then the login one is done, which is called user login. Okay, I hope we are together. So we copy it, then we go back to login, no, to sign up, and then under urls we just paste it there. Okay, so when we paste it here, it means that someone who clicks on login here will automatically be taken back to user login. Okay, yeah. So having done that, let's go and we test it out. Login. Okay, sorry, page not found. Why? Okay, fine. Let's check. Let's go to check what has happened. So when someone clicks on login here, this one should be able to open user login. Okay, I think are we loading static? Yes. So why is it not working out? Let's double check why. Let's refresh again. Okay, fine. Let us first stop the terminal with Ctrl+C. Then let's run the command again. Python manage.py run server. So most of the times before you go into debugging, you have to first confirm where the problem is. So restarting the server could be the best solution, because you find the server has not yet captured that you have linked in. So that's why you have to restart the server. Let us try to open up again and we see if it is going to work. Okay, so it has opened. This is our home page. Then we have the login. Let's click on login. Okay, this is the login page. We have also been able to implement the create an account here. Let's try it out. Okay, it's working well. Then let us also try to click on login. Wow, it should be able to also work very well. So here we have been able to implement different features, the logic, the back end, the back end of the logic, how the back end does work with the front end. That's how it comes about. So the other thing now we have to do, we now need to, if someone has created an account, then their username, their emails and passwords should be used to log in the system and then access their dashboard. So that is our part 2 of the video. So thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. See you.